Something that has really helped me establish boundaries with people is my rule of 3. So if I have to tell you something once, okay, I'm telling you once. I'm bringing up the problem, I'm establishing the boundary or the issue that I'm having. If I have to tell you twice, okay, I'm telling you twice. I'm going to give people the same grace that I would like to be given. So if I really care about you, I don't mind bringing up something twice. But if I have to tell you something 3 times, you can kiss my whole entire black ass and I will cut you off without warning. And I love this tip because when I cut somebody off, I never hear from them again because they know exactly why I'm not talking to them. It's also a great way to see who respects you and who doesn't. And if you don't respect me or you don't take my feelings into consideration, then we have no business being friends.
Okay. Hey y'all, welcome back to Mom Machines by NUTCASE. You guys be sure to subscribe, like the video, get ready to comment on this one because I know y'all are gonna have
You play too much.
I know y'all are gonna have comments for this one. I had to get my little grapefruit and cranberry juice so I could sip because it's so much of this going on right now. And I'm happy. Listen, I am happy to see the ways that we who have been used and the ways that we who have been maybe drained out like a sponge or, just exhausted by others are standing up for ourselves. I'm so happy to see it, but I know that the comments might be booming on this one because we about to talk about choosing yourself. And when we talk about choosing yourself, if you clicked on this video, you already know what I'm talking about. It's not cool when you choose yourself. You're not popular no more when you choose yourself. You really don't have any support when you choose yourself, and all the people who you thought had your back, they start to disintegrate and disappear like they're made of water for real, and they just evaporate out of your life. But we gotta talk about it, you guys, because it's something that's really big, but it's also something that you should not at all be afraid to do, not one bit. So let's go ahead and get into this conversation about choosing yourself. Now, recently, you guys, there have been a lot of situations where I have decided to pull back. There have been a lot of situations where I've decided to choose myself, okay, so to speak. There have been ways in my life where I noticed that things were not going the way that I wanted them to go. And I feel like it was because my energy was way too spread out between so many different things and so many different people who were kind of monopolizing my time and monopolizing my attention and distracting me from the things that I really wanted to do. But it's like, okay, can I really be mad at those people? Yeah, I can a little bit, because if you say that you're my friend or you say that you're someone who supports me, then why would you try to use me like this? But at the end of the day, when you do self-reflection, when you do those types of things like self-reflection, where you find a lot of the results that you get are based on choices that you've made, okay, or choices that you didn't make. It's either choices that you did make purposefully to allow someone to have that type of domain over you, or it's choices that you did not make, which allowed another person outside of yourself to make a choice for you. When I started to really dig deep and realize those things about myself, I found that I was the cause of this. Okay, it was my fault, bitch. It was my fault because for too many years and days and months and weeks, for too long out of my life, I have been allowing people to make choices for me that I knew were not in my best interest. And I just was bopping around, bopping along and acting like it wasn't that big of a deal. But then as I saw and really opened my eyes to the way that my life has kind of been crumbling around me, I realized, okay, so when we gonna stand up for ourselves in there? Okay, my inside voice, not the quiet voice,
but the one inside my head,
said, this is a problem. This is a problem. Because, matter of fact, I actually made a TikTok about this.
You might have some fake friends. Some of y'all been struggling with your money lately. And if you found this video, it was meant for you to find it. Because you've been trying to figure out whether or not you need to get them fake friends out your life because you've been feeling like they fake, but you ain't got no real proof to know that they fake and you don't want to accuse nobody. They fake. That's why your money is coming up short. Now, I'm not talking about them stealing from you, which they might be, so check that. What I'm talking about is an energy, an entity of chaos that feeds off these people. If they're always getting in drama or trying to get in your business, wanting to come to your house, wanting you to go out with them when they know you need to work or you ain't got no money, that energy of chaos is the issue. They're trying to feed off you too. And whatever energy is radiating off of them is bleeding over into your life, causing you to have setbacks with your finances. So you need to get them out your life. And I promise you, as soon as you do, that money gonna start flowing. Don't doubt it. This is your confirmation.
And it was definitely related to more financial things, but it can also be associated and equated to like how you truly feel about yourself, confidence, finances, productivity, and just overall success of who you are and what you do. But I made a TikTok about this, about how if your money is looking funny, then it might be because of your friends or the people who you associate yourself with.
So I had to make this one a little bit longer because, honey, I'm telling you, these people out here be fake as hell, okay? So quick little story time. I'm not going to let y'all get all up in my business, but I'll let y'all know the gist. I was hanging out with some girls that I had met while I was out, right? That was probably my first mistake, but I don't be having friends. And they seemed like they was pretty cool. Like, they seemed like they was pretty down. Like, you know, sometimes when you meet women or you go out with women, it's a bunch of drama. They didn't drop me for men or leave me in the club by myself to go with some dude. They made sure I got home. They were like, text me when you get home. They included me in other events and things. And it seemed pretty innocent to start, right? And they had good jobs. All of them were employed or doing something positive, it seems, as a job. And it wasn't like a questionable job. I'm not trying to hurt none of y'all feelings, but you know what I mean. So I hung out with them for a while, but then I started to notice like some codependency issues, some sensitivity issues, some manipulation issues. Like it was one girl in the group who was way too codependent, and she was always trying to text me, call me all the time, wanted to go out almost every day. And I'm like, girl, no. Then when I set a boundary, it was a problem. See, that's a red flag a lot of y'all don't understand. You need to set boundaries with people and see how they react, because that will show you if that motherfucker is a problem. So I set a boundary with her and she didn't like it. So boop, dropped. And I should have paid attention to that red flag right there, but I didn't. And that's so I could tell y'all what the tea is without you having to go through it. So I kept hanging out with the other girls because they was like, no, we can't fool with her. She too much drama. And she was. But it didn't even matter anyway because the girl ended up relocating. Boom. So it's only a few of us left in the group. But I started to notice like this energy of kind of like secrecy. So I'm a Pisces, and you can't never hide nothing from a Pisces, because it don't matter if you lie about it, don't say nothing about it. We gonna see it either in our dreams or we're gonna see it in our waking life, where there's gonna be something that tells us what the fuck you are doing. So with the remaining girls, I had this energy of secrecy, like someone was talking about me behind my back. I didn't like the vibe. Then I started noticing my money was kind of slowing up, you know, with everything that I had going on. And I'm like, now you motherfucking. So I tried to back off from them and kind of like focus on my work. But they always try to make me feel guilty about it. Like feel guilty about taking care of my business. Oh, well, Casey don't come out no more, and Casey don't do this, and woo, 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 woo. Trying to manipulate me, child. And I'm like, girl. Another thing about Pisces, we'll let you do something and just watch. Even if we know you full of shit, we just watch it. So that when we drop your ass, we don't feel guilty. So I dropped it, and my money's back flowing. You better get rid of them fake ass friends. I'm trying to tell your ass now.
So in that video, I was talking a lot about money and finances. Let's just touch on it. Let's touch on it real quick right now. I feel like a lot of times if you are in a certain position financially, you're going to vibrate in a certain energetic way. I know this is a lot of woo-woo, all that type of stuff, whatever, fine. However you want to look at it. When you're in a certain financial predicament, you are able to do certain things financially while in that predicament. So you may encounter people or meet people who are in the same similar financial predicament, and you guys may bond or align when it comes to certain things that are going on in you guys' life. But then there's a moment where you take a step forward. A lot of times those people don't always take that step forward with you. A lot of times people tend to get stuck in the same things that they've always been doing. They tend to get stuck in the same ways that they've always carried with them. And regardless of whether or not you're showing them a different way, or regardless of whether or not you're doing things differently to maybe be a good example to those people, they still are going to be stuck in their own ways. And now this doesn't always happen. Sometimes you will have people in your life who see your example and they're like,
Oh yeah, let's get with it.
Like,
I want to get with it together.
with you, right? But that's not always true. And then if you continue to hang around those people who may have a poverty mindset or who may have a lifestyle that's centered around poverty, that is kind of rubbing off on you in a negative way. And you may want to be loyal to people, and you may want to be supportive to people in their situation because maybe they supported you when you were down. Maybe you just want the best for them. But at some point, we all have to decide if that's really in our best interest. It definitely can affect your finances in a negative way if you don't peep those things and pay attention to those things before it gets out of hand. Now, this also can be the case in relationships. When you want to be romantic with another person, or when you want to find that special person who's like meant for you and y'all have a relationship. And listen, finding relationships and building relationships and self-development, it's a lot, okay? There's a lot that's tied into all of this. It's not just going to take getting rid of your friends to find a relationship or have more money. It takes personal development as well, but I digress. If you are looking for a relationship, or you've been single for a while in your group of single friends, you may start to notice that your prospects of people who are interested in you, people who you're interested in, people who gravitate towards you, you may notice that these situations are not necessarily lined up, okay, in alignment with what it is that you really want for your life. And if you look at the circle of people who you hang around with, you may start to notice why. I'm not talking about any specific gender. I'm not talking about any specific group. This can literally apply to anyone and everyone. And no matter who you're interested in, if you're around people or quote unquote friends who choose to carry themselves in a certain way, or they choose to surround themselves with a certain group of people, and then ultimately by default, because you're around them, you're also attached to the people who they center themselves with, that could be affecting your relationships. I've also noticed that sometimes it may be a bit of the opposite too. When you are around a certain group of people that maybe you had some similarities with and you're friends with these people, but then you're out and you're improving your life, and maybe you're hanging out with these people and there's a different caliber of person who's attracted to you and not your friends. It be happening like that too. And then the reverse effect that you want will happen because you're around those people. It's like that person who was attracted to you, who may be of a higher caliber, or who may be in the bracket of relationship potential or friendship potential even, that you really want to be in. They'll be scared off because of your people. They will be scared off because of these quote unquote friends that you've decided to center yourself yourself with or surround yourself with. And then it's like, it's still the same difference. Either you're attracting a lower caliber of person who is not necessarily what you consider to be on your level, or they're not necessarily your cup of tea, but they're attracted to you because of the people that you're around, or you have a person who is attracted to you initially, but then becomes turned off because of the people who you're around. So either way, it causes a problem. And I think these are some of the things that we have to notice when it comes to the types of people that we surround ourselves with. That is when the idea of choosing yourself truly comes in. That's when the idea of saying, you know what, this is not good for me, and I'm gonna take a minute, I'm gonna take a second to breathe on this, I'm gonna take a second to reflect on this, and I am going to choose maybe more activities that I like to do, or I'm gonna choose to have some time in the peace and privacy of my own home, or I'm gonna choose to be individual and unique to what I do and not always include you guys, or not always necessarily be included in what you guys are doing. It starts to be a problem. Before we get to that all the way, because we're going to get into that, the third way that I feel like you guys could possibly notice that it's time to choose yourself is the fact that your personal development is not really where you want it to be. This is something that would really take you looking in the mirror at who you truly are and what it is that you want for your life, and the ways that you may not have been able to achieve that as of yet.
I think there comes a point in time where we have to be more self-reflective. I think everybody experiences things, but I think not many people actually reflect. I think it's quite draining and frustrating having to constantly listen to a friend complain about a situation they have no intent of leaving. I am somebody that is all about solution. If you don't have solution, I prefer not to hear about your empty complaints. We've all been there. I've been there. But I've even had to recognize myself. There are just some things you don't need to complain about. Yes, I don't mind listening to my friends when they need to vent, when they need to just cry out. But when you're talking about a situation that actually hurts me to see you go through, I don't want to hear about it every single day. And it doesn't make you a bad friend because you can't listen to the same stories over and over again. I think it's okay to set healthy boundaries even with your friends.
It's like, if you're surrounding yourself with a group of people, and it doesn't just have to be friends, because I've been focusing on friends, but this could be family members, this could be cousins, this could be siblings, this could be, alumni from your school, people who you've hung out with, friends of friends, it could be coworkers, it could literally be anyone. But if you've noticed that your personal development, most of all, above your finances, above your other relationships, above anything else, if you've noticed that your personal development is taking a hit, or your mindset is maybe regressing back to something immature that you've already kind of come out of, it's time to possibly consider that you may have allowed yourself to become susceptible to the energies that other people are carrying that may not be 100% authentic to who it is that you truly are. Like, when you start to notice your morals or your ethics slipping, or you start to notice that things that you really just don't agree with or may not necessarily approve of, it's like you're not trying to judge people for where they are, but you know that that's just something that you don't vibe with, or that doesn't really align with your personal values. That's when you may want to consider taking a step back from the people who you've been surrounding yourself with. Now, I'm not even gonna sit here and hold you. When you do this, people are not gonna like you. You are going to open up a can of worms that more than likely you have never experienced in your life. You're going to open up a can of worms with these people that is going to show you their true colors and their true characters. Now, not every single person, like, I really want to stress this because it is subjective in certain cases and everyone is different. As humans, we are all unique and individualized. However, this is usually what I have found and what I've really found recently, because I've really needed a break, okay? Like, I've needed a break from people. I've needed a break from the public. I've needed a break from a lot of things to really refocus. But what you will notice in these situations, because it's not just right now for me, this has happened several times. And I also want to stress to you guys that you may have to do this more than once, because if you're steadily and consistently growing, everybody's not always going to grow at the same pace as you. So even if you find a new set of friends or a new set of relationships, you may eventually eventually have to distance yourself from those people as well, even if they were an upgraded version of what you came from. However, what I've noticed is that in all of the times where I've had to distance myself from people, it was a lot of hate. It was a lot of hate. It was a lot of envy. It was a lot of jealousy. It was a lot of backstabbing.
They smile in your face all the time. They want to take your place. The backstabbers.
It was a lot of manipulation. It was a lot of brainwashing. It was a lot of guilt tripping. It was just everything negative that you could possibly think of when it comes to someone projecting their own insecurities on you for the choice that you make. That's what was going on. Okay. They are not going to like you for choosing yourself. They are not going to like you because a lot of times, kind of what I said earlier, people will be people and they're going to only be able to do what they're able to do. You can't force anyone to do anything. And if you choose personally to make a change in your life that's better for you on an individual level, you're the only one who's in your shoes. Other people are not going to always understand the reasons why you feel you have to make this choice. Sometimes because we love people, genuinely, I like to believe that people love other people, even if it's hard. What a lot of these issues that we have with each other boil down to is the fact that we actually love each other and we want to understand each other and we want to be understood. But a lot of times, because people are not in your individual shoes and they don't know exactly what it is that you're going through as a person, they will then misconstrue, I'm never good at that word. They'll misunderstand the intention of why you may be distancing yourself from them. They'll misunderstand the intention of why you're choosing to be more self-centered, and not self-centered in a mean way, but self-centered. They're going to misunderstand that because they don't know necessarily where your mind is at. And I think a lot of times people take that as a jab or they take it as an attack. And it's really because subconsciously there's a version of ourselves that wants better for us, no matter how horrible of a person we may be or come off as in the world. There's a version of everyone who wants to be better. And that's where the judgment comes in. That's where, the self-deprecating mental thoughts come in. And I think when you choose as an individual to be better because you've heard those thoughts and you want to change the way you feel about yourself, you trigger others to have those self-deprecating thoughts about themselves. But it's the version of themselves that knows that they want to be better or they want to do better. And it's the fear that they feel of actually taking those steps that causes them to, instead of looking at themselves and hearing that voice and understanding that maybe that voice is talking to them because they really want more, instead of looking at it that way, they project it out on you as if you're the reason for the problem or as if you did something to attack them just because you chose yourself. So they will do things that may be malicious or jealous. It doesn't necessarily have to always be on 10 or on 100. Sometimes people will choose then, if you decide to separate yourself and choose yourself and do what's best for you, friends and family members and just people who you socialize with, who you're separating from, will decide maybe not to include you. They're not going to include you in the cookout. They're not going to include you in the party. They're not going to invite you to things. And then they'll make a point to come to you later and tell you later about all of these wonderful things that we were doing.
Oh my goodness, so-and-so was here. So-and-so was there. This happened. That happened. Ooh, you missed it, girl. You missed it.
Hey, bro, it was a whole party. It was a whole thing. It was a whole movie.
Whatever. No, don't let that get to you, because that's a way of them showing their envy and jealousy towards the ways that you're improving your life. Because if it was that serious, like if they weren't truly having a problem with you choosing yourself, which ultimately is setting a boundary with them, they would say, hey, there's this get together that we're going to have on Saturday. And I know that you are taking some time, but we definitely wanted you to still feel included and you don't have to feel obligated to come. But, we just wanted you to know about it in case you did want to step out. That's what a true friend would do, in my opinion. And if there's a boundary that you've set that's really strict, where you tell people that you don't want to be invited to things, they probably won't even tell you about the after effects. So it's different levels to it and it's going to be unique to whatever you do. But if there's a boundary that you set where you're like, hey, I'm focusing on this, but you can still let me know what's going on because I might step out, but I've really been focusing on this lately or that, they may come and tell you as a good friend that, hey, this is going on, but you don't have to feel obligated to go. We just wanted to let you know. They're not going to come to you after the fact and tell you about all these great things that were going on. And if you did set a boundary where you didn't want to be told, or you don't want to be invited, or you really just need a strong stop, a hard stop on whatever social things that you're doing, they won't tell you about it beforehand, and they definitely won't tell you about it afterwards, because there won't be any animosity. There won't be any problems between you and that person for them to feel like they would have to do that. Okay. You may even have situations where a person who you set a boundary with and you decided to choose yourself and separate from will come back and tell you about things that other people are saying about you because you chose that boundary, but then they'll put it in the terms of, well, I didn't think this and I didn't say this, but so-and-so said you was being like this and so-and-so said you was being like that because you don't come to the cookhouse no more and you don't talk to us and you took yourself out the group chat and they said this, but I told them that you was on your grind and I told them that you was this and you was that. Now, I get it, because sometimes people feel like you care about what other people have to say, and there may have been a point in time where you did care what other people have to say and you had that dynamic with that other person. But a lot of times people will do that to kind of gauge what you're going to say or what you're going to do, and it's another tactic to kind of pick at you. It's another tactic to make you feel bad about your choice or to manipulate you into feeling as if you did not make the right choice, even though that you were choosing yourself. And one thing that I want you guys to know is if they brought it to you, they were talking about you too. If they brought it to your attention, more than likely your name was in their mouth too. And they're going to say that they were talking about you. So basically they're going to admit it. But the thing that they're not going to tell you is how they may have been, culpable to whatever the conversation was about. And what they may not admit to you is how much involvement that they had in the dragging of your name. Okay. So just be aware that these are all ways, and especially with family, like this really happens a lot with family members where they'll call you out of the blue after not really checking on you, not really concerned about what you had going on, not really caring whether or not you're surviving or even thriving or whatever it is that you're doing is successful, but they'll let you know what's been going on in their life. And in the midst of letting you know what's been going on in their life, they will then, flip it around to let you know something that your name came up in. I just feel like if there's a situation where you've decided to choose yourself, they are going to hate you for it. They, meaning the people around you, the people who are codependent on you, the people who may be draining your energy, they're going to hate you for it. Because at the end of the day, you are taking away the source of energy that they get from you, which you may not even realize is extremely vital to their survival. You are taking away the source of energy that they've had for however many weeks, days, months, or years, where they're able to recharge their batteries, that now they no longer have access to the plug. Okay, what happens when your plug moves away? And that's on y'all. I'm not saying it, I'm just saying, y'all know what I'm saying. When you have a nice restaurant that you like to go to, and it may be like a mom and pop shop,
or you may partake in certain activities recreationally,
and you no longer have access to that plug, or the restaurant closed down, or your favorite store ain't open, it's like, dang, now I can't get what I need. Okay, that's how these people feel when you choose yourself and when you cut them off from the energy source that they've been using for all this time. But it doesn't mean that you don't do it. They're gonna throw so many things at you, every trick in the book. They're gonna try to get you back to that place where you are allowing them to siphon your energy. And there's so many ways that I could describe this happening. Those are just a few examples, but I just want you guys to know and be confident in your choice, because I guarantee you that whatever prompted you to decide to choose yourself, or whatever prompted you to change the way that you show up and to improve yourself, it's literally the best thing that you could have ever done for your life. And at first it's going to be hard. It's just like quitting anything. Like if people are drinking or smoking, or if people eat the wrong types of food, or if you may want to decide to go to bed earlier at night, but you have a show that you really like that comes on later. Anytime that you change a habit, or you try to build a new habit, or you try to create a new vision for your life, the very beginning is going to be the hardest. But I guarantee you that even though it's rough and even though it's difficult, it will end up paying off for you in the long run, okay? So I hope this video helped you guys. Y'all be sure to like the video, subscribe, put your comments below, and let me know what you think of this content, or if there's ever been a situation where you had to choose yourself and what happened in the interim as you decided to choose yourself. Let me know, boo. Let's share some stories, okay? And I will see you guys on the next video. Bye.